up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Take It to the House. I'm joined by Zach and Caleb as always. We are going to go over the Super Bowl game. There are definitely some strong opinions here, so let's get right into it. Zach, how are you doing this morning?
The Chiefs. I hate how I have to play them twice a year, in my general opinion. But going to the Super Bowl, obviously the Chiefs are Super Bowl champions. Game-winning field goal by Harrison Butker. What was it, like a 27-yarder?
Yeah, something like that.
But Mahomes was 182, 3 touchdowns. So I don't know why he won MVP, because that was the lowest passing yards I've seen Mahomes throw. Isaiah Pacheco, 15 carries, 76 yards, 1 touchdown.
I love
And
Pacheco, by the
I
way.
love Pacheco too. And Travis Kelce, 6 catches, 81 yards, 1 touchdown. Honestly, the Chiefs had a strong second half, in my opinion. I think that that last flag holding on Bradbury can be questionable, though, in my opinion, because I've been not called on that for doing that. So I don't know. I don't know. But on the Eagles side, Jalen Hurts, 27 for 30, 304 yards, 1
So
touchdown.
good.
3 rushing touchdowns. He had rushed 70 yards of rushing, which is a new Super Bowl record. And also the 3 touchdowns were also a Super Bowl record, right? Or tied. They tied Terrell Davis.
Tied, yeah.
And then Devontae Smith with 100 yards catching. But overall, it was a really good performance by the Eagles too. So, yeah. What are you guys' thoughts on this game?
Go ahead, Caleb.
Personally, do I like Mahomes winning Super Bowl MVP? It kind of just leaves a bad taste in my mouth, considering that he came out in the second half, and obviously fans were cheering the Eagle fans were cheering when he got injured and got up limping. So, there's that. He kind of stuck it to him. But I think he deserved to win Super Bowl MVP? No. I want to throw my hat in the ring for Nick Bolton.
I was thinking that.
Like, honestly, I get you're playing on a high ankle sprain. It's grade 2, but really, you're gonna get MVP because you're playing on a high ankle sprain. You only have 182 passing yards, which is the lowest I've seen Mahomes throw in his whole career. Like, come on.
But
honestly, and I agree. I think Nick Bolton or even Isaiah Pacheco should have got it.
Or Kadarius Toney.
Or
really,
Kadarius Toney.
Because that, we'll get to it in a minute, but I mean, that punt return changed the game.
Yep.
And he had a receiving touchdown. Was it on the same
where he
drive
was wide
or the
open?
drive
Where he was wide open.
Before? Yeah.
Drive
before, because Sky Moore scored the.
No, it was a drive after.
It was before.
I thought Sky Moore scored the second one. Toney scored the first one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the punt return by Kadarius Toney was ended by the Sky Moore.
Sky Moore, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was literally the same play, and Sky Moore was open, and Toney was
right.
Open.
Yeah, on the other side of the field.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at it scheme-wise, that's just the fact that they were able to pick that out. I kind of agree that the Super Bowl MVP, but something for me, though, is I feel like Super Bowl MVP is getting less and less important because I don't know, like how many. The fact that Mahomes already won MVP of the regular season, like I don't have much of a problem that he won Super Bowl MVP. Like I don't really care. I do think that his second half performance was incredible. Yes, 183 yards, but look at what he did in that second half. I mean, it's all about, and all those touchdowns. I mean, it's all about how you end the game and how you do it in clutch time. And he is probably one of the best clutch quarterbacks in all of sport. I mean, like all time. So, but overall, I think it was a super fun game. It was kind of what I was expecting, like high scoring, back and forth game. And I just want to give, I want to be the first one to say it on this podcast, but like Jalen Hurts, dude, that kid is so good. He's special. And I think he will be back. And I think that, in my opinion, I think he's a top 5 quarterback now in the league.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And when I say top 5, he's not 1 or 2. He's probably 4 or 5, but top 5, I think so.
I was like, because you can't put him over Burrow. You can't put him over Mahomes.
I wouldn't put him over Allen right now either.
Nope.
But I think he's probably 4.
Then who would be the 5th?
I would probably say T-Law right now.
Trevor Lawrence, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. And then I think Herbert and Lamar are like 7, 8.
Yep. Or
Um
6, 7.
or 6, 7, yeah.
Yeah.
So no, it was a super fun game, and it makes it easy when I don't have a dog in the fight. Like I think I would have preferred the Eagles, but I didn't really care. And this is gonna sound kind of weird, but I think that the Chiefs winning is better for the sport, just because if they're gonna be a dynasty, they need to win.
Yep.
And in terms of narrative, you can't be a dynasty because people have been already calling them a dynasty, but you can't be a dynasty if you're not
If
winning.
you haven't won anything.
Right.
Example,
So,
Memphis Grizzlies.
yeah, well, they're not.
They
can't.
called themselves, but
But what I'm saying,
now the
yeah.
West is stacked with Katie and Kyrie.
But what I'm saying is that I think that it's better long term for the sport when the best team won. That's hands down, in my opinion, the best team won. Regardless of how the ending played out, the best team won, and Patrick Mahomes is already on his way to becoming one of the best of all time. So
he's I have him as number 3 all time already.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. Behind Montana and Brady.
Okay, I was about to say who's 2 and 1.
Well, obviously Montana, because we all know greatness of Montana, and then obviously Brady's the greatest. And so, but yeah, I think people need to start talking about how it's about Mahomes being number 3 all time. Because what he's done for the sport, he's revolutionized it in a way that we have not seen from other quarterbacks. I mean, sidearm throws and like throwing on on the run. I mean, he's just revolutionized the sport, and he's doing what he needs to do. So I think Mahomes is number 3 all time for me personally.
I mean, he reminds me. We saw this. You sent this in our group chat, but he reminds me of Steph Curry, of what Curry's done in the NBA. I don't think that you would say Curry's a top 3 player all time. However, what Curry has done for the sport, and also for the younger generation, our generation grew up with Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. This generation's going, and Peyton Manning, and
Eli. You can't forget Eli.
Right. But this generation's growing up with Patrick Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence and, Joe Burrow. Like, this generation's GOAT is Patrick Mahomes. And I think if he were to win one more, if he won maybe one more Super Bowl and another MVP, I think he could very well be number 2 on the list.
Yeah.
And
that's coming from a Niner fan. Coming from a Niner fan.
He's wearing a Patrick Mahomes jersey.
Listen. Like I said, Zach, you're a Broncos fan, aren't you? Right?
Of course I am. You know this.
But you have a Burrow jersey, right?
Yeah, because there's my second favorite team.
And then you have like a Rams jersey too. If I'm not mistaken.
Not here,
bro. It's liking the player.
I could give 2 fucks about that Rams jersey. That's not even a freaking player.
It's liking the player, not the team.
Yeah,
that's what it is for me. I like Mahomes. I don't like the Chiefs. I like Mahomes.
Last night made me want to buy a Jalen Hurts jersey, by the way. His performance last night.
They're for sale in Salt Lake City.
Yeah. Anyways, go ahead, Zach. You were going to go say something.
Can we talk about Dallas Goedert real quick?
Oh
my God.
He's that man. Stud.
That dude, he's been quiet all season. Let's be honest here. Very, very quiet season for him. But he made some big plays on third downs.
Yeah, he did.
And even short, what was it?
Was he the one who made the catch over the guy's arm? Was that him? Oh my gosh. I was sick.
He had some crazy catches. Of course, Hurts placed the ball perfectly on one throw too against getting barely past Justin Reed and all that. But Dallas Goedert had a really good game. Pretty sure he was on the Super Bowl winning team when they won in 2017, 2018, I believe.
I don't think so. I thought it was
maybe he was just drafted.
Maybe he was a rookie, but Ertz was their starting.
But Ertz was their starting, but I think Goddard was on the team at that point.
But he played really well. I think we got to give a lot of credit to Slim Reaper too. I mean, Devonta Smith was so good in that game. and I think he had
both receivers had really
yeah,
good games.
but I think Devonta has been going under the radar because I think a lot of people like the name AJ Brown and like he's a big ass dude and just more like he's a bigger name and more people know about him and they traded for him and like it was this big thing. But like Devonta Smith is might be a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL right now. Like those two wide receivers could be two of the top 10 in the NFL right now. They're really good. And I think Devonta was robbed of a catch that could have changed the game. But
Well, he
Yeah, I
got one
agree.
in the 2 weeks before. So
right. But that one was
But
sick.
that wasn't
But that one
challenged
was
though.
well, and that was also irrelevant because that game was just a blowout. But I'm saying that the catch in this Super Bowl, like when you look at that situation, they're driving on the field. If they would have got that completion, they would have been in the red zone with like a minute left and 2 timeouts. I believe 2 timeouts. They might have had one, but I mean, you're telling me that they don't turn 3 into 7 right there if they get that, It's just crazy.
And then
He's so good.
The other thing is they stopped the freaking play twice after the ball was snapped.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
One because they didn't match the substitution or whatever, which I've never heard of that fucking rule. Are you serious? Like, I don't get that. I get it's out of the boundary line, but it's still out of bounds. You have time to substitute. Like, I get you want to hurry up and like you're like going like no huddle and all that stuff, but you have chances to sub, and the refs clearly did allow that, and then they stopped the play. And then they resumed play. Hurts snaps the ball, and then Andy Reid throws a challenge flag. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I don't know. I think that sequence right there was kind of
confusing
and unnecessary. But yeah, I agree. I think that Vontae Smith catch was a catch actually because he regained possession and he had 2 feet down. But another thing is, I think next year for Jalen Hurts, he needs to improve his arm strength a little bit more.
Well, he was dealing with a shoulder injury, so it's
like,
well, that too. But like that man threw a 45-yard bomb easily.
Right. And also I mean, it still worked out because they still got the touchdown and it was a great throw. But like you look at the Devonta Smith, like what was it, a 30-40 yarder in the fourth quarter.
45-yarder.
And it should have been a touchdown. But because of the way that it was kind of thrown, Devonta had to go out of bounds at like the 3 because
it was underthrown a little.
Right. So I agree. I think that's probably something for him to work on, and I guarantee you he'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the Hail Mary too, right?
Yeah. Now, however, I don't really like. Question for you guys: in that last play of the game, do you throw a Hail Mary or do you do something more like Miami Miracle, where you're like doing laterals and like a bunch of different things? Do you do that or do you do a Hail Mary? Because I think I'd prefer pitches and runs with that rather than relying on your quarterback who has a shoulder injury, who probably shouldn't be throwing it 70 yards down the field.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was going to say, I think it just depends on the quarterback. Honestly, if you have a guy who can chuck it down the field, like an Aaron Rodgers, then you have to go for the Hail Mary.
But in that situation last night, would you?
I think you should have gone for the laterals.
Yeah,
and all that stuff. But if you have, it just depends on the quarterback when you're in that situation.
I mean, let's be real. That chances of you scoring on that play, anyways, are so slim that it's really like, and that's what bummed me out is that play had to happen. And then, of course, after the game, that's all I saw of like, his arm is so weak and this. It's like, no, guys, relax. Like, he had a shoulder injury. You got it. I mean, because they were only at like the 35. So he would have had to chuck it like 70 yards down the field for there to even be a chance. So, I don't know. I credit to Jalen Hurts. He's a stud. But I think where this game was won and lost was a couple different things. The Chiefs O-line.
The Chiefs, that's what I was going to say. You have to give credit to the Chiefs offensive line.
Not one sack.
The way that they were embarrassed a couple years ago with the Buccaneers, they absolutely, you have to give all the credit in the world to the offensive line because they were able to give Mahomes time. And when you give Mahomes time, that's dangerous. And the Eagles, I've heard it from Eagles fans this whole season. We have the best D-line in football. Where was it last night?
Yeah, where was it?
Where was it last night?
They
Maybe
got pressure, but
that the Niners were saying about the Eagles defense was not wrong.
what I do have to say too is that there's one Mahomes play that I don't think gets talked about enough, which is his like diving throw to Travis Kelce. It only got them like 6 yards, but it got them the first, or it might have been 3rd and 1, but they got the first after. I mean, this man is already almost like this close to being on the ground, and he's able to like, okay, I don't know, throwing it when you're that close to the ground and you're like almost parallel to the ground and getting a throw off that's like 6 or 7 yards, that's not easy to do.
He's nuts.
So
he's nuts.
He's so good. But no, I think the Chiefs O-line, and I also think the Chiefs special teams hands down outplayed the Eagles.
Yep.
And not other than the KT 70-yard return. I mean, the rest of the night, I just don't feel like, I mean, they missed a field goal, but I don't feel like the Chiefs or the Eagles played very well defensively, and I don't
In
think
the second,
they played.
I don't think they played great in the second half defensively.
Yeah, but I think in terms of I agree with that. But in terms of getting pressure, they didn't play well all game because they didn't really get a whole lot of pressure and they didn't get any sacks. But where was the best defense in football in that second half? I mean, they were torched all that second half. It was just that's what bums me out for Jalen Hurts is I think his defense let him down.
Yeah, I think so too. And like the other thing is too, like they have a bunch of free agents as well coming up. All of them are on defense.
They're gonna leave.
4 or 5 guys on the defensive line.
Plus CJ Gardner-Johnson,
and James Bradbury and Bradbury.
And Ben Bradbury.
Now the question is, do you think that Bradbury we should pull up a list and predict who we all think is gonna re-sign or not, because
I don't think Bradbury's gonna re-sign.
I'll pull it up right now.
Also, I just gotta say, can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
I think that I think Travis Kelce said, I can't remember who said it after the game, but the addition of Kadarius Toney might be the biggest addition this season.
Huge.
Like the addition of Kadarius Toney, because I mean, he is so underrated. He's so underrated. He's so good, but he just didn't work out with the Giants, and now he gets a chance in Kansas City, and he's so good. Like, I don't know. I think the addition, by the way, and also they did. Let's just add to this that Mahomes is able to do this without McCole Hardman and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Let's talk about that.
CEH though, I think is done in KC at least.
Pacheco is definitely taking the spot.
He's so fun to watch. He might be one of my new favorite running backs. Like, the aggressiveness in which he runs and the ability to turn speed so quickly. Like there was only, I mean, it was like a 12-yard run, but like it looked like it was like a 5-yard run, and then he just turned on the Jets and got like 6 more yards. He's so good.
Did you see his celebration in the end zone? I think he was like mocking the Eagles with that celebration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
well, he did it in the locker room after too on his live stream.
Yeah.
Okay, so I pulled up the free agents for the Eagles. They have a lot. Most of them are defensive players.
Is Goddard? Am I tripping?
So here we go. Okay. So Fletcher Cox, re-sign or not?
No.
I think he'll resign, but it's tough. If he doesn't resign, who am I thinking of? Am I thinking of Brandon Graham? Hold up. If I think he doesn't resign, he'll retire.
Okay. Robert Quinn.
No.
I think he'll resign because they traded for him. Didn't they?
Yeah, they traded.
So I think they'll re-sign him. Brandon Graham.
Retire.
You think he'll retire?
I think Brandon Graham is going to retire.
Okay. Javon Hargrave.
No. I think Javon's going to go get his money somewhere else.
Okay. I think Jason Kelce retires.
I think he does too.
Andre Dillard. He's a tackle. I'm going to just go through the defensive players though. Kaiser White, linebacker.
I think they'll bring him back.
Okay.
I think they'll bring him back.
What do you think, Zach? Any of these really pop out?
Not really. I honestly Fletcher Cox might retire too, honestly.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
And Ndamukong Suh, I think they'll let go.
I think they'll let him go.
I think he might even retire.
If
I think
if
he's
I'm the
about
Eagles,
done.
if I'm the Eagles, I would resign Robert Quinn and I would resign Hassan Reddick. That's my person.
Reddick's not a free agent.
Oh, he's not.
Mm-mm,
Okay, never mind.
mm-mm.
So
I
the
would just
only
resign Robert Quinn.
and then here the other we got a couple more. So Ndamukong, Linval Joseph. I think they might resign him, but I don't know.
He might walk too.
And then CD Deuce and Marcus Epps. So I don't know who Epps is. He's a safety, but I think if I were them, I'd put the money to resign CJ Gardner-Johnson and then one of those D linemen. I feel like either Graham or Cox, if not both, retire. So I think one or the other. And I think maybe the other, if one of them doesn't retire, I think maybe they'll sign like a 1-year deal. But let's not forget that Philly has the 11th pick in the draft. I believe
10th. I thought it was 10. Was it 10?
No, I think it's 11. I think that the Saints dropped them out of the first 10.
Got it.
I want to say that
they have the 10th pick.
The Titans have 11.
Yep.
So they have the 10th. So I mean, they can get one of the best edge rushers or D linemen in the draft. So,
or I mean,
you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Philly.
You're welcome.
Whereas we could have been in a position to draft a quarterback, now Philly has a top 10 pick after going to the Super Bowl. That's crazy. How many times do you think that's happened in the history of the NFL?
Not a lot.
I should have looked that up. Not a lot.
Not
How many
a lot.
times does one of the teams that have been in the Super Bowl have a top 10 draft pick the next year? That's crazy.
Well, and there's only 31 picks in the first round this year because the Dolphins lost a pick.
Right.
Tampering.
Yep, tampering with the contract.
And off of two people that they didn't even end up getting.
Who was it? Who was it again?
It was Peyton and Brady. They were going after both of them.
God.
And they didn't get either. Wow, that's crazy.
I feel bad for McDaniel.
Any last thoughts on the Super Bowl? I feel like we should probably wrap it up and we can talk about some off-season spiciness that might occur.
Good.
I could bring up something non-football related that has to do with the Super Bowl.
Which is what?
What was your guys' favorite commercial?
I have to say that the commercials have dropped off massively. But I know that everybody's talking about the Tubi one, about how it got
the Tubi one was hilarious.
But I really liked the Dunkin' Donut one with Ben Affleck
and
I
Jennifer
thought that
Lopez.
one was funny. I thought
that one was good.
Yeah.
I personally liked. Did you guys see the what was it? The Breaking Bad one?
Yes,
the one
with the Poppables or the Papa.
And
whatever.
they brought back.
Those were funny.
They brought back Tuco. They brought back Jesse, and they brought back Walter. And I thought that was funny. That was awesome. Of being a Breaking Bad guy, I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
What do you think, Zach? Was that the one that you were gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say the Breaking Bad one. Or I know these don't count, but the movie trailer was pretty cool to watch.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Flash is gonna be so good, but that's
I'm excited. I'm excited for Flash. I'm excited for the new Indiana Jones because I've grown up watching Indiana Jones my whole life with my dad and all that. So I'm like really excited for this shit. So
I do have to say, this is obviously not even for this podcast, and I'll probably cut it out. But how does Ezra Miller keep his job, but then other actors don't get to keep theirs? That's what I'm wondering. That's bullshit, in my opinion. And I may not even see that movie because he creeps me out so bad. Can't stand him.
I'm a comic book kid, so I'm gonna see it regardless. Because
but
obviously seeing Keaton. I mean, Keaton is that's huge.
Even though we knew,
and then the chance of Bale.
I am not buying that because I saw the same picture that everybody's looking at, and then they literally showed
it's
a front picture.
It's Affleck.
So it's not Bale.
But I'm saying they said on Twitter that there's supposed to be 3 Batman, not 2. One of the insiders said there was supposed to be 3 of them, and
it's George Clooney.
Bro. Could you imagine that? Imagine that.
They just replaced fucking Christian Bale with George Clooney.
Ezra Miller gets stuck in the Batman and Robin universe.
Oh,
imagine
man.
That would be poetic justice. That would be poetic justice.
So bad.
I don't know George Clooney or what was the other one?
Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
He's got throat cancer. He's not able to do it.
Never mind.
No, just
So,
kidding.
yeah. So I love him though. That's my favorite. Or that's like I love
That's
that. I
my
like
favorite.
that
That's
movie.
Batman Forever is
Really?
my favorite.
Batman Forever. Batman Forever.
Out of
Is your
the
favorite
Exactly.
Batman movie of all
No,
time?
no, no.
Oh,
God,
okay.
No,
But
of
I'm
that,
saying
of
like
that, like
era.
of
four,
that of
that
those
era.
four.
Yeah.
I still love Michael Keaton though because he's a classic. But Batman Forever was it
Forever's
because I
with
mean
Tommy Lee Jones and Jim
and
Carrey,
and
right?
Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
Jim
it was
Carrey was
elite.
made to play Riddler. He was made to play Riddler.
Is elite, man.
And Tommy Lee Jones was built to play Two-Face.
That was
And
Even
so
though, like,
it's like
even though they hated working with each other though, Jim Carrey and
yeah.
Tommy
Did you
Lee.
hear that Tommy Lee, like, literally during that movie had like literally lost his shit with Jim Carrey?
yeah,
So funny.
but it was that's like one of my favorites. But obviously, like The Dark Knight is my top movie.
Yeah, it's the
But
best Batman movie
the Batman
of all
is
time.
the second. The Batman is the second.
Right. I think that now that the hype has died down a little bit from the Batman, I think we can all still come to realize that The Dark Knight's the best Batman movie of all time.
I used to tie it with I tied him.
They're still tied for me, honestly.
I like them both, but I just think that the fact too of that when the Dark Knight did it when it did, in like a pre-Avengers big MCU world is really impressive to me. That's still like one of the best superhero movies of all time, and it was really before most of the superhero movies were out.
I mean, we got
Yeah.
like technically we got a universe at that point. I mean, not really, but we got like
Right, but I
Christian
mean,
Bale's
like,
Batman. We got
yeah.
Brandon Routh's Superman. We've got like Superman Returns came out around that time, and like it was I don't know. It would have been a cinematic masterpiece to see those two meet. You know, Brandon
I'm just
Routh's
glad,
Superman, and
but I'm also glad that they never brought. I hope that he doesn't come back because I don't want Bale involved in any.
oh, I'm sure.
big
I'm sure
team up.
if you'll come back, I'm sure it won't be a team up. I'm sure it'll just be like a little cameo. Like it won't be like a
Yeah, but still, even at that, I really liked that they never got him involved with any other thing. That it was his story. So
yeah.
all right. Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're gonna talk about off season. Now that the NFL season is officially over, off season is actually just as much exciting. I would argue that this off season may even be more exciting than the regular season. So, we will be right back.
All right, guys, we're back from our little break. We just had to discuss some stuff real quick. We're gonna get into some basketball and baseball as well in this episode. We'll try to at least, just because these next 2 weeks are turning out to be dead with the NFL offseason. It's gonna be a re-signing period coming up, and then also we'll cover the combine next week, I think, as well, if we're recording before then. But so
Mock drafts too.
mock
Those are
drafts
coming.
too. So, I saw this yesterday. Who else saw the Sean Payton Gronk thing yesterday?
I did. I saw it.
I just like okay.
That's you two. You guys can do that.
I mean, I'm obviously like I have no like weigh in anymore. Like it doesn't matter. Like Sean Payton's not my football team's head coach. But I just wouldn't want it. Like I just don't think that Gronk is it anymore. Like he's also been retired for is 2 full seasons now. So like I don't know.
No, he
I think
retired-
that it's more
wait.
for
This is
clout.
his second retirement. This is his second
Yeah,
retirement.
this is his second retirement. He retired last year.
After he
Yeah.
retired, said he retired to veto a trade to the Lions.
Right.
And
But I think that like this would be just for clout. Like I think
Yep.
all of it's just for clout. I think at this point I don't think that there's any truth behind it.
no.
And if something does happen, great. I mean, we're losing Okoye Bunum, we're losing Eric Tomlinson. So
I mean, Gronk could be a valuable like red zone threat, but Gronk
Exactly.
wouldn't be the number one. I think that Dulcich should still be the number one.
yeah, Dulcich will always be the number one, but I think Gronk would be a good addition because he's a good blocker too.
I wouldn't do it though. Like if it were
I
my
wouldn't do it
team,
either. I wouldn't do it either.
but you wouldn't be upset with it.
I wouldn't be upset with it
Yeah.
either way. I mean, Gronk's cool. Gronk's
Mhm.
fucking crazy.
We love Gronk. We
I
But,
love
um,
Gronk, dude.
So, some interesting news I saw today, and I sent it to the group chat as well, is that the Jets have made an offer
Mm-hmm.
to the Packers. We don't know what the offer is yet.
Have they made an offer, or they? I thought they just had, like, just talked to them about the possibility.
They've inquired.
Inquired
Yeah,
about
they
it.
inquired. So that means
Yeah.
they do have a trade package set up already for the Jets side. So that means it's all up to
How do we know that?
when they say inquire, it basically means the Jets have a plan of what they want to trade for
Mm.
Rodgers. So they definitely have their stuff that they want to give up.
Or even it's the Jets saying, "Hey, Green Bay, we might be interested. What do you want for him? Tell us your price, and then we'll think about it." Could be that
Yeah,
too.
that too. That too. I mean, I'm sure they already. I mean, every front office has a package together. Obviously,
Mhm.
yeah, I can't talk either way. So I don't know. It just depends. But it's just all up to Rodgers too because he's going into that isolation for like 4 days. Think about his career and all that stuff. I doubt he retires. I think give it one more year and he retires. But if I'm the Jets,
I don't think that Rodgers is going to retire, but I also don't think he will be playing in Green Bay next year.
no, he will not be playing Green Bay.
He'll be playing on an AFC team.
Oh, 100%. If I'm the Jets, I would much rather be going after Lamar Jackson, to be honest.
I would actually even rather go after Derek Carr than Aaron Rodgers right now. Because Derek Carr gives you at least 3, 4, 5 years. Aaron Rodgers is going to give you maybe a year or two, and it's going to be full of drama and
he's going to complain the whole time.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like we just don't know. And it's like is this 3 seasons in a row now where we don't know what Aaron's future is? Like, I think it's 3 in a row.
This is the 3rd season. Yeah. This is the 3rd season in a row.
Because last season we had the whole thing with Devontae and we just didn't know. But even the year before that, he was very like, oh, I think I might have to take some time. We'll see.
And this was after the Niners beat his ass in the suit. No.
Yes.
After the Niners whooped him in the NFC Championship.
But I just I wouldn't do it. I would go after Lamar, or I would go after Jimmy Garoppolo. I'd go after Derek Carr. I think I would go after any other free agent quarterback on the market because the Jets core is really young. And I think with a young core, you'd want a young quarterback so you can keep this team progressing. But if you have a young core and an old quarterback, that is only going to stick around for a year or two. And it's going to be just drama filled.
We're gonna go to Derek Carr in a second, but I think Baker Mayfield could also go to the Jets too. He's pretty young still. He's only 28.
I think he could do a job.
Yeah, I think
I would rather have Carr or Lamar.
Oh yeah, that
or
too.
I'd even have Garoppolo over Baker right now. But I like the shout.
Coming from a Niner fan, I really hope Garoppolo. I really want to see Garoppolo succeed. Like after all the shit that he's gone through with all the Niner fans in the past couple of seasons, I want to see him go to a team and I want to see him play well. I don't, because the Niner fans have treated him so poorly. I was one of them for a while, but I've come to find appreciation for Jimmy Garoppolo. And I don't know. I just think that I would like to see him go to a different team, and I would like to see him succeed on that team, whether it's in Vegas or New York or, wherever. Wherever Jimmy goes, I'll give him I'll be like, every time I see Jimmy, I'll be like, cool.
Yeah.
No, I have no hate towards Jimmy. So
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so on to Derek Carr. Were you gonna say something before?
Oh, no? I was gonna just jump onto the Derek Carr thing.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So Derek Carr visited the Saints last week, as we all know. Twice. But so he's not gonna take a trade.
Yeah, he came out. Was it yesterday, right, or the day before?
It was yesterday.
And said that he would not waive his no trade clause for the Saints or any other teams.
Yeah. So I think this is a smart move by Carr because one, if he actually wanted to go to the Saints, they're not taking up a big cap space. Though it'd be kind of nice for the Saints because Raiders will pay half that cap salary. But at the same time, I think it's a smart move by Carr just because he might get more money guaranteed out of it, whoever team he signs with. But that just depends what the team does to build around him too. But like I said, I think I do see him going to the Saints. I do see him going to the Jets, Titans. What was the other team I said?
I could see Carolina too.
It's very interesting and where Carr is going to go because he's done in Vegas. 1000% he's done in Vegas. So
Well, yeah, and something interesting too. So the Super Bowl's in Vegas. 58 Super Bowl 58's in Vegas. I mean, what better motivation for Derek Carr to go somewhere and go to the Super Bowl in Vegas? I think that'd be so sick.
yeah. And like I could see him going more to an NFC team than an AFC team at this point.
Yeah.
I think so too.
The AFC is so stacked on quarterbacks. I mean, like we were like earlier, we were talking about like who's the top 5 quarterbacks.
They were
right?
all AFC quarterbacks
except for Hurts. Except for Hurts. And it was T-Law, Allen, Burrow, and Mahomes.
Right.
And those are all AFC quarterbacks. And then you said 6 and 7 was Herbert and
Lamar, and those
Lamar.
are still
those
AFC.
are 2 AFC quarterbacks.
Right.
And so it's like the AFC is just loaded with quarterbacks. So I think
they're about to be loaded too if Rodgers gets traded to the AFC too.
Yeah,
right.
And then you got Rodgers in there. You got
and then
Russ, you got...
I think Russ. I was gonna say Russ next year with Sean Payton. I think is gonna be a different quarterback. Well, on Derek Carr, I mean, so I think that the whole NFC South is in play for Derek Carr. I don't think Atlanta, but I think Carolina, Tampa, New Orleans would all gladly
Tampa
take.
Would be a fun one.
I would hate it. I'm just tired of Tampa, but I don't think Derek Carr walks into Tampa and makes them bet any better than what they were. And I think Tampa is going to lose some guys because now that Brady's gone, they're like, oh, we're going to go back to being Tampa.
I mean, like literally, they had Ryan Jensen stay and another lineman stay,
and Godwin stayed too.
I
think Godwin's out.
Yeah,
is he a free agent?
I don't know if he's a free agent, but I think he'll request a trade or somebody will try to trade for him.
I thought they tagged him last year.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
What's the deal with Evans?
He's under contract still.
Yeah. Okay. But I think that the whole NFC South will be in play for him pretty much. I think that if he gets traded to the NFC, he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFC. Might even be top 3 because who's in the NFC right now? Hurts, Dak, Aaron Rodgers, but probably not for much longer. Fields, but his team is horrible.
Yep.
Kyler,
Cousins,
Kyler, Brock Purdy. I mean, you're walking into
Jared Goff,
Stafford. I mean, you're telling me that Derek Carr couldn't be a top 3 in the NFC? Like, I mean, I think he could be. So, and I think if he lands in the right scenario, this is the right move for him because any team that now wants to get him does not have to give up draft capital.
Yep.
And can restructure his contract.
Yep.
Godwin is under contract through next year. Sorry, 2024.
I feel like one of those 2 receivers will be gone before the season starts.
Yeah.
They're 50. I saw they were 53 million over cap or something like that.
Yeah, the Bucks are way over right now. So yeah, Derek Carr, man. I think he got hard done by Vegas, to be quite honest.
Wait, what? Hold on. I'm so confused by this. Sorry. They're saying franchise tag in 2022, franchise tag in 2021.
For who?
So it's for Chris Godwin.
So that means that he won't be under contract in 2023.
But it's saying he's under contract for 2023.
What?
Yeah.
Maybe they worked out a new deal. I don't know. But
yeah, they did. Yes, they did. You're right.
Okay. Mid-season or what?
Yeah.
Okay. But I think that Carr got hard done by the Raiders. I think that he showed them nothing but love and he's a really good podium quarterback. He's really good, says all the right things, even with the Henry Ruggs. I mean, think about the things that this quarterback went through. He went through the Henry Ruggs situation, the John Gruden situation, new head coach. He went through moving cities. He went through, and
he went through hell with this organization.
Right. And he handled it very, very well. And I think that's a type of person that you want on your team. Maybe not even if you don't want him as a quarterback, but I'm saying as a person and as a guy, he's a good dude that you'd want to be a part of your franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb, would you take him right now?
I would.
Yeah,
I would. I'd take him over Trey Lance.
Yeah,
definitely.
Well, and if Brock Purdy isn't healthy and Derek Carr comes in and played a lot better, then you play Derek Carr.
See, I have this. I don't know. I want to be wrong. I want to be, everything inside me wants to be wrong. I have a feeling that Shanahan is going to favor Trey Lance. I don't know why, but I have this feeling.
Well,
and Purdy's out for a year.
right. So it's not Trey Lance will be the 49ers starting quarterback.
Which
Unless
I'm willing to give a
something else
shot,
happens.
which means I'm willing to give a shot.
Unless they trade for somebody.
Yes.
Or they take somebody in the draft and he outplays Lance or Purdy, but Purdy won't be available for a while.
But
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that I'm willing to give Trey Lance a chance.
You should be.
And if he performs, great, then he's our guy. But if he makes a couple mistakes here and there, I don't know. He's suffered an injury week 2. He played what? How many years at college? 2, right? Yeah, 2. And he sat out his junior year. And then
I don't think he even started his freshman year though. I think he only played 1 full season in college.
Yep, that's what
That
yeah.
was COVID year after.
That was 16-0, and he won the championship, I think.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't know. I'm willing to give Trey Lance a chance, but I want him to prove me wrong so badly. I just want to see it. I want to see it happen. But if he doesn't prove me wrong, and he is what I think, and he is what I'm hoping he's not, which is just a quarterback who can't do anything, then shit, we traded our whole future for this.
Well, you're coming up to the point where that future is. You're coming up to the point where it's back because we've played enough years now where the draft capital that you gave up has already been used. But
yeah, you guys know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like giving up 3 first-round draft picks is still.
Transitioning a little bit, I was going to mention Lamar. Lamar and the Ravens are 100 million apart in discussions. And it sounds like they will franchise tag him. But I think he will be traded. I do not believe that Lamar Jackson will be the starting quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens next year. Which again makes me wonder why the Jets aren't interested. Because if you're willing to deal with the drama of Rodgers, you're not willing to deal with the drama of Lamar, who is a better quarterback and athlete right now. It's confusing.
Mm-hmm.
So where do we think Lamar would go? I again point to the NFC South. I think Carolina is a interesting opportunity for any quarterback right now.
I think Carolina, I think New Orleans, and I think Tampa would be a great spot for him too.
And I think Atlanta would be a good spot for him too. I was about
to say Atlanta. I think Atlanta
would be a good
one.
Division of the NFC South is open.
Is in play for him.
I think if you're Atlanta though, I think you give Desmond Ridder a chance.
I think you have to because he played really, really well in the second half of the season. Well, really, really well, meaning it wasn't a disaster.
It doesn't disaster.
The Atlanta Falcons.
It wasn't Mariota.
The Atlanta Falcons as an organization, the last 5-10 years are a disaster. But Ridder, I think you have to give him a chance, and he was proven in college. That's what I liked about him is that he's like the Max Duggan, right? Where it's like he played in a lot of big games. And other than the playoff game, I mean, Duggan won the playoff game, but other than the playoff game that Cincinnati played in, I mean, Ridder was a really, really, really good college quarterback. So I think you have to give him one more year. And then but Atlanta needs weapons. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. In PFF right now, Atlanta is taking a quarterback over and over in their mock drafts, but I wouldn't be surprised if they take the first receiver off the board. I think they're at 9. So.
I mean, they have an interesting little group. They have Drake London and Kyle Pitts.
Right, yeah, but then you got to
They need to add more
because you got rid of Russell Gage and you traded Calvin Ridley.
Don't you have Algier? Don't they have Algier though?
But he's a running back.
I know, but he's but he was he. I mean, I go to Utah, but giving him credit is tough.
Yeah,
but he
showed improvement. He looked good, but I think that they have a good combo with Patterson and Algier. That's a good combo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think NFC South is where Lamar goes. NFC South or the Jets, but it doesn't sound like the Jets are interested.
I think the Ravens are just asking too much for the Jets. In my opinion,
the Ravens are asking too much.
Yeah.
I think the Ravens are probably asking too much for any team that comes along, but I think they're going to realize that the more you ask, the market's going to slim down. And what do you want when you're a team trying to get rid of a player? You want a bidding war. You want multiple teams interested. It's better for you. But if you start narrowing it down, there are only like 2 teams interested, you're running the risk of having both of them walk away. So if you're Lamar, I mean, if you're an organization, if you're, let's say, the Saints or the Falcons or the Panthers, what would you be willing to give up? That's the question.
First round picks, third round picks, players.
A young player.
Like I literally, as a Saints fan, other than our key players, so like the untouchables for the Saints, Lattimore, Kamara, Olave, Cam Jordan, Demario Davis. I think I'd probably be okay with trading anybody else. So, if that means you trade, I don't think I'm getting this feeling now that Michael Thomas might stay in New Orleans. But I don't think I would trade Michael Thomas because that makes it a lot less attractive to Lamar to come into New Orleans if now you're receiving cores Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, and Taysom Hill. Like it's not as attractive. But maybe you trade an Alontae. Yeah, well, Jameis is a free agent. Oh wait, no, they're gonna cut Jameis though. They're gonna cut Jameis.
I would cut Jameis. Sorry, trade Jameis and all the other stuff. Have Snoop and Jameis compete
battle it out. It's just not a compelling quarterback battle there though. No. But like again, I think every team will have their 5 or so players that they will not trade. But I mean, are you telling me that I would? There are plenty of players that I would be okay seeing leave if it meant getting Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, the only team player wise that doesn't have a lot is probably Atlanta. I think Carolina has some pieces that they could trade, but I don't think Atlanta has almost anything. So
Tampa's got some stuff they can give up though.
Oh yeah. Godwin. You could get rid of Godwin. You could get rid of Evans. You could get rid of, I mean, they have players they could get rid of.
They have assets.
Yeah. So I think the Jets or the NFC South. I don't really see many other teams in for Lamar.
Yeah. It's hard to tell right now just because what we know right now.
And if I'm Lamar, I'm wanting out of the AFC too.
Yeah, obviously.
Because if you go to the NFC, Lamar's a top 2 quarterback. It's him and Jalen. Everybody else is far below. So, yeah, man, it's gonna get crazy. I think, obviously, next week in the couple weeks to come, we're gonna do a little bit of more sports than just NFL. But I think once it gets crazy, it's gonna get real crazy.
Yeah, trades and stuff can be happening, combines happening, all that stuff. So, but I think we should touch on NBA a little bit now that you speak about it.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna move on from football for today. The trade deadline was last Thursday for the NBA. Obviously, we saw Kyrie get traded to the Dallas Mavericks, and now it's paired up with Luka Doncic. And then we saw KD get traded to the Suns, and now it's paired up with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. And they kept Ayton.
Yep, which I think is crazy.
Yeah. So Suns are contenders now, 100%. Mavericks might even be contenders. Kyrie's looking good so far. Kyrie's been respectable about his old teams and all that stuff too as well. And this is Kyrie's first time in the West as well.
That's weird. He's been on 3 different teams and none of them in the West. It's kind of crazy.
Because he was drafted by Cleveland and then he went to Boston.
Right.
And then went to Brooklyn. So, and now the Grizzlies should be scared, in my opinion. Caleb, you have a thought?
I do have something to say in regards to some of the trades that happened. We all know Russell Westbrook is now part of the Utah Jazz.
For now.
Utah Jazz sources say that the club is looking for resolution on Westbrook in hours, not days. The Jazz have given Westbrook the space to consider his options, including joining the team as a bench contributor. I am told a buyout remains the likely outcome.
And was that from today?
Yeah, 6 hours ago. 6 hours ago.
And who was that tweeted that out?
Let's see. His name's The Monty Show. I don't know. I don't know. I
he
don't
a
trust him.
reliable
I don't
source
trust.
there?
I don't
Yeah.
trust him. I don't trust him.
Well, I would say that the
Well-
key for the Westbrook thing is it does sound like that there have been talks, and it doesn't sound like he's immediately saying no.
Well,
And it
he's just
doesn't sound
talking
like
about it.
right, and it doesn't sound like the Jazz are immediately saying no. And
Mm-mm.
the longer that this thing goes on, the more I think that Russ might end up in a Jazz uni.
Which I hope so. I low-key hope so, because I think it would be awesome to see him in a Jazz uniform, considering if you would have told a fan in 2018, 2017 that Russell Westbrook was going to be the point guard for the Utah Jazz in the next couple of years, they would have thought you were crazy.
And they would have hated it.
Yeah.
They still will, but I think they're gonna have to get over it.
But no, Woj was the one that was talking about it.
Yeah.
And so
But
I'm not honestly, if I'm Utah and you buy out Russell Westbrook, obviously the Rockets bought out John Wall, right?
they waived
they?
him.
They waived him. So if I'm Utah and I waive Westbrook and buy him out, do I go out for John Wall? I mean, I get John Wall wants to go to a contender, and I think the Jazz it can be.
I don't feel
contender.
like no, they can't.
I don't know.
No, they
But
can't.
like,
Stop.
I think.
Stop.
Can I
Mm-mm.
finish
You think-
stature? God damn
Sorry,
it!
but you think that the Jazz are contenders this
No.
year? You're out of your
No.
mind.
No, I mean like they're contenders for playoffs. Is what I'm saying.
Play
yeah,
in.
but
Play in.
that doesn't. You can't say that they're contenders and then say contenders for playoffs.
Okay, let me rephrase my goddamn phrase then, you little butts.
They're a playoff team.
They're
They
a playoff
could be
team.
a playoff team.
Could be a playoff team. And if I'm John Wall, I would look at the Jazz and look how many freaking first round picks they have. I mean, seriously, we have like
15.
15 through 2020.
In the next, yeah, that's crazy.
So if I'm John Wall or Westbrook, I would consider that. Just to be completely honest, like I know Westbrook has bad juju,
Bad blood with Utah.
Yeah, but that's just
I would too, though, with him. Like if I'm him, I would have bad blood with Utah because
But
he's been
it's
treated
new,
hard, man.
It's a whole new team. No more Mitchell. No more.
It's not new
Conley.
fans though. That's
It's not
the
new
biggest
fans.
problem.
It's not new
but-
fans.
Yeah.
But it's a whole different team, and things change. You know, obviously.
Well, I think we should talk about. Oh yeah,
Caleb's holding up
Markkanen.
a Markkanen
The
poster.
finisher.
I think
And
we
I
should
also
talk
have-
about the KD and Kyrie trades because those are the two biggest ones. Nice. I think Kyrie is going to make it work for a year or two, and then I think he's gone. Because you have
He only has 2 more years on his contract.
two
anyway.
ball centric players that are only good when they're on the ball. So that's
Didn't
not
we
really
say this
great.
about Chris Paul and Harden though?
Yeah, but did it work?
Yeah, but they got into the Western Conference Finals.
Did they win a championship?
No, they would have won if Chris Paul stayed healthy.
Did they win a championship?
No.
My point stands.
Dude, that's coming from a Warriors fan. I think Chris Paul and Harden would have beat us had Chris Paul stayed healthy.
But he didn't, and they didn't. That's my biggest
And
point.
we still
though.
won the chip, so it's,
I
it is
don't
what it
think
is.
I don't think that it's gonna work because I think that you have two ball centric players who have to be on the ball in order to be effective.
Mhm.
In terms of Phoenix, I mean,
They-
if they don't win it, what are you? What's going on? Like you
Do we
have to win it now. You have to.
Yeah,
to.
you have all the pieces.
They just got Terrence Ross now too.
Yeah.
Well, and the problem is that they're like, what's going to happen? I said this in our group chat. What's going to happen is they're going to make the finals and then they're going to lose because they have no depth. And then the fans are going to be like, well, we had no depth because you traded it all away. You traded all your depth away. And if I'm making that trade, I'm trading DeAndre Ayton and not Mikal Bridges. I'm sorry. You can find a new center.
I
would
would-
keep Mikal Bridges.
I don't know. I would say I would keep Mikal Bridges, right? But at the same time, I also think the Suns traded away one of my favorite young players to watch. I love Cam Johnson.
Cam Johnson, yeah.
I love watching Cam Johnson. His like the way he shoots the basketball is so pretty, and he's just like, I don't know. It was just, I don't know.
I think
really
it's a
liked Cam
weird
Johnson.
that whole thing. I think it was a weird trade, but I think that the Suns are set up perfectly now. I think that team is built really well. I mean, CP3, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Ayton. I mean, that's pretty nuts.
That's disgusting. That's disgusting.
So if you don't win it now, I don't know what
I don't know
to
what
tell
you're doing. I don't know what you're
you.
doing.
I was kind of sad to see Jay Crowder get traded in that package too, honestly.
He would have
Well,
been
and
a
then
good
he
fit.
already got traded again to Milwaukee.
He went
Yeah.
into 3 different teams or 2
But
different
that's
teams in
good.
one
That's
day.
good for Jay. Going to Milwaukee's huge.
Yeah, he's back
He's
where
gonna
he
fit in.
was.
He can
No, wait,
play
no,
a
sorry,
role.
he was on Boston. Never mind.
He can play a role off the bench, and that's gonna
Yeah.
be huge.
And
Yeah.
then they
Um,
did they cut Serge Ibaka or am I
Serge
tripping?
Ibaka's in Indiana now. I
No,
believe.
yeah. And then Indiana's gonna buy him out. I
Yeah,
think.
Ibaka needs to be done, bro. It's time.
Dude,
Um,
Ibaka goes to the Suns? Question mark.
doesn't matter. It's irrelevant, dude. Yeah. Also news, Zion Williamson
Out.
still re-aggravated his injury again. It's tough.
Laurie Markkinen is taking a spot in the All-Star game.
Yeah. But
Well deserved.
it sucks from a Pelican standpoint because Zion plays a massive role as he should. But I do think that if the Pelicans are able to get fully healthy, they're a very dangerous team. I think the Pelicans can beat anybody on their night. I think they'll win a playoff series this year. That's my only goal.
If Zion's back in time too, I think.
I think they could do it without Zion. Personally, it just depends on who you have to play.
Yeah,
If you have to play,
McCollum.
right?
too.
If you have to play on I would be comfortable if they played Utah, right? Like I would be probably okay with that. If you're Zionless, I feel like they could probably do it. But, yeah, Zion, he's such a good player, but he just got health problems. It just makes me wonder what's going on behind the scenes, though, because why is he re-aggravating an injury that he should be still recovering from? Like, how do you re-aggravate something unless your PT is not going how it should be because the people who are in the building aren't doing it right? So,
Right.
and Brandon Ingram was out forever with a big toe contusion homie was out for like a month. So what I'm wondering is if the Pelicans staff is not up to
It's
par.
just horrible. It's just
Right.
horrible.
Right. So
Well, I mean, they kind of also were bad with AD, but that's
AD is injury prone though. Like that's the problem is we've just learned now that I just think because he went to LA and it's the same thing. He's injury prone.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're about there. Anything else that you guys have, or are we about good?
I think I'm good.
We're good. Next week we will cover some more news that breaks down in the next
week or so. Yeah.
We're recording on Monday,
Which is President's Day, I think.
Yeah. No, next week is President's Day.
Yeah. So we're going to be recording next Monday, which is on President's Day.
So we will cover whatever comes out. We forgot to mention Mahomes was MVP in case you guys were curious and forgot. So
that takes a lot coming from you, Zach. Well done.
Yeah, well done, Zach. Well done.
Medal.
My necklace right here. Anyway, we hope you guys enjoy your lovely Valentine's Day as that is tomorrow as we're recording. Hope you guys have enjoyed your week, and we will catch you guys next week. Enjoy the All-Star break for all you basketball fans out there, and we will catch you guys next week.
Okay, see you guys.